Welcome to Tokyo, Japan. I'm about to hop on board the Shinkansen, or bullet train, which can travel at up to 300 kilometers an hour. But if you think that's impressive, I'm off to drive a new Japanese sports car that can outrun it in a high-speed shootout. It's the next generation version of a car that in Australia we know as Godzilla. Meet the new Nissan GTR. It no longer carries the Skyline name that terrorised V8 Fords and Holdens at Bathurst in the early 90s. That's because this time around, the GTR is no longer a Japan-only model, but a new global flagship for Nissan. And while Godzilla is back with 4-port grip and a fire-breathing V6, there's new prey in its sights: Porsche's venerable 911 Turbo. Okay, so the GTR may not be love at first sight for everyone. Its angular sheet metal contrasts with the classic sleek lines of the 911. But it's the most coupe-like GTR yet, and its shape is designed to do one thing: go fast. Nissan calls the top section of the car an aeroblade canopy, with deliberate jet fighter implications. It contributes to slippery aerodynamics that help the GTR cleave through the air up to a top speed of 310 kilometers an hour. Helping to reach that maximum velocity is this new hand-built twin-turbo V6 that produces 353 kilowatts. It's no coincidence that that power output is identical to the 911 turbos. But is the GTR really a match for the world's best all-weather supercar? Well, Nissan has certainly spent plenty of time on road and track, tuning the car to be Porsche's finest. The 4th generation GTR is 6 long years in the making. Nissan claims the GTR sprints from 0 to 100 in 3.6 seconds. That's 2/10 quicker than the 911 Turbo. So I guess it would be rude of us not to test that out. So here we go. We've got first gear selected in manual, foot on the brake. Let's go. And we're off. 40, 60, into second, 80. That's 100 already. That's unbelievably quick. We don't have a stopwatch, but I think that's comfortably under 4 seconds. Advanced all-wheel drive technology helps to get all of the GTR's power to the bitumen. To improve traction off the line and grip during cornering, Nissan supercar can send up to half its power to the front wheels. And although the GTR's engine sits up front, the gearbox is actually positioned at the rear. This is an unusual engineering approach, but it does wonders for weight distribution. There's a clever gearbox too. The GTR features a new dual-clutch sequential transmission, very much like the Volkswagen DSG that's highly regarded. One clutch takes 3 odd gears, the second clutch takes the even gears. And it means that you get quicker shifts, because while one gear is engaged, the second clutch has got the next one pre-selected. Just listen to this. 3, 4. Really seamless, really quick. You can change the gears manually with paddle shifts behind the steering wheel, or use the shift lever. There's a full auto option too. The GTR's drivetrain, however, can be somewhat clunky and jerky at slower speeds, although once you're on the open road, Nissan's new hero car won't disappoint. The steering on the GTR is absolutely sublime. It's just great weighting, there's lots of feel coming through the steering wheel, and it combines with a chassis that is absolutely eager to turn in. It's just absolutely fantastic chassis. The trade-off, however, is a ride that is super firm, even in the softest of 3 suspension settings. It's bearable on these Japanese test roads, but doesn't bode so well for Australia's lunar-like surfaces. The GTR's no lightweight either. It hits the scales at over 1,700 kilos. Some of that extra weight is welcome though, because you get these body-hugging sports seats, there's a bunch of airbags, and there's an 11-speaker Bose audio. And there's even this graphic display that was created by the designers of Gran Turismo, the PlayStation game. The display provides a plethora of information, from basic engine details such as oil temperature to more complex data such as G-forces. Not every area of the GTR seems to have been benchmarked closely against the Porsche 911 though, because while there's some nice stitched leather on the dash and there's some aluminium trim, some of the switchgear feels like it comes from a 20 grand Nissan Tiida. The GTR may not have the clinical uber quality of a Porsche interior, but when it reaches Australia, Nissan's new flagship is expected to cost about 150 grand. That's less than half the price of a 911 Turbo. The bad news is that because the GTR is a new global flagship for Nissan, Australia is unlikely to see the car before 2009. But when Godzilla is back on the rampage, the likes of Ferrari, Lamborghini and Porsche should be afraid, very afraid.